Okay, so for part 2, we're just going to go over problem 10. You will need our logarithm laws again, and yeah, so I'm going to be using the same numbering system that we used before. Um, Problem 10 asks us to use logarithms to combine the given expressions. So what I mean by this is I want to condense addition and subtraction using my laws of logarithms. Okay, so for part 1, we're given log base 2 of a plus log base 2 of b minus 2 times log base 2 of c. Okay, so a question you might be asking here is, what do I do first? Do I use rule number 1 to rewrite the first part? Or can I use, I guess, a combination of rules 2 and 3, but I'm going to write rule 2, to combine the log base 2 of b minus log base 2 of c squared? And the answer to that question is it doesn't matter. We'll end up with the same thing. But for me, to avoid getting confused, I usually just go from left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply rule 1 to log base 2 of a plus log base 2 of b. So this becomes log base 2 of a times b minus 2 times log base 2 of c. And now I'm going to apply rule 3 to 2 times log base 2 of c. And when I do that, I am left with log base 2 of a times b minus log base 2 of c squared. Then finally, I can use law number 2 to get log base 2 of everything that's in the first logarithm. So that's AB, divided by everything in the second logarithm. So that's c squared. And this is what I should get when I condense this. So this is going to be our final answer. Okay, on to the next one. We've got log base 5 of x squared minus 1 minus log base 5 of x minus 1. Okay, so we need to be very careful with this. So I'm going to put a warning here. I know I look at this and I still want to do it. So I know you might maybe want to do it. You might maybe want to write log base 5 of x squared minus 1 is equal to log base 5 of x squared times log base 5 of 1. This is completely, no. So everything that's in the logarithm, I'm going to leave that be. Don't touch it. He's happy in there. Don't disturb him. Okay, so let's do this the right way so that I can show you how to do it the right way. And we'll get rid of the warning. But make sure you should remember the warning because I swear it's tempting. The only thing that I can do right now is apply rule 2, which is the subtraction thing, right? To rewrite this as log base 5 of everything in the first logarithm, so x squared minus 1, divided by everything in the second logarithm. Okay, so notice the x squared minus 1 didn't break up at all. But now, algebraically, I think we can probably rewrite some of this. This should be log base 5 of x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 1. And then we'll get some things that cancel. So like this x minus 1 and this x minus 1 will cancel, so that I'm left with just log base 5 of x plus 1. Okay, so part 3 is, how bad does this get? Okay, not too bad. Part 3 looks really terrible, but I promise it's not. So just like I said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from left to right, just like I'm reading English. So looking at this thing, 4 times log base 3 of 2x minus 1, the first thing I want to do here is use rule 3. And then I'm going to put an extra set of parentheses here just to avoid any confusion. When I pull the 4 inside as the exponent, I need to raise everything inside of the logarithm to that exponent. Everything. Okay? So then we have minus 1/2 log base 3 of x plus 1 squared. So that's what's going on in the second logarithm too. Like we're taking log base 3 of this thing squared. Okay. So my goal is to combine these two things. So I think maybe what I want to do next is use rule 3 again, or law 3, to move that 1/2 inside. So I'll have log base 3 of 2x minus 1 to the 4th minus log base 3 of x plus 1 squared to the 1/2. So I'm just left with x plus 1. And then on this, I'm going to use rule 2. And when I use rule 2, I get log base 3 of everything in the first logarithm, so 2x minus 1 to the 4th, divided by everything in the second logarithm, which is x plus 1. And this is the condensed version of what was written above. Okay, so the last one looks like even more of a mess, but I promise it's not that bad. Just like before, we're going to go through it from left to right. So first of all, I've got 4 log x. I can rewrite that using law 3. I know that's going to give me log of x to the 4th. And it looks like I can apply rule 3 to every single part of these except this 2. So leave this guy be. He doesn't get along with the logarithms because he's not a logarithm. So don't put him in with the logarithms because then they're going to fight and it's going to get really upsetting and I don't want to deal with it. Let's use rule 3 on the rest of these. So if I use rule 3 on the second one, I'm going to get log base 10 of x squared plus 1 to the 1/3. And then for the last one, I'll get log of x minus 1 squared. Okay, so what I have so far is log of x to the 4th minus log of x squared plus 1 to the 1/3 plus log of x minus 1 squared plus 2. So I'm going to use law number 2 on this subtraction here. So that I get log of the first one, so log of x to the 4th, divided by log of the second thing. So divided by x squared plus 1 to the 1/3 plus log of x plus 1. Where did the plus 1 come from? X minus 1 squared plus 2. And then I will use rule 1 on this thing. And when I do that, I get log of x to the 4th times x minus 1 squared divided by x squared plus 1 to the 1/3 plus 2. So this is the final answer. I'm just going to leave the 2 out front.